Hi, my name is Poeartistry. I am excited to welcome you to James Poeartistry Productions. You are tuning into an incredible experience known as Poeartistry Gold, where we delve into the art of commentary, storytelling and poetry. We aim to bring you inspiring and thought-provoking content.
This is a Poeartistry Gold moment by the author James Lynch. Hi, Perceptive Reader. This is James Lynch, and welcome to Poeartistry Gold number 96. Isn't that something? Over a year ago, in the year 2024, I started making these Poeartistry Gold series. And when I go back through and listen to some of the podcasts, because I normally only listen to a podcast once after I make it, and then on special occasions, I guess you could say rare occasions, or if someone says or mentions there was an edit or what have you that just needed to be made to make something clearer, then I would go back on any of my podcasts over the years, which really that just rarely happened, where I just, had to make an edit here or there. Not to say that the quality could not have been enhanced. It's just that I just normally make these podcasts and then I moved on. In the year of 2025, though, I started actually transcribing them, if you will, even more so than I have done in the past. I have actually made additional commentaries in writing, etc., as I develop my knowledge base for James Poeartistry, which is very, very important. I really say, as a lot of people have found out, there comes a point where you do know yourself. When you're growing up, you have persons at times who, and this includes family members, that know you better than you know yourself. So that's, when they knew you from a young age. Yet, what happens as you gather knowledge and you apply it in your life, let me tell you, you do change. Not so much as always whether you're a nice person or a bad person, and we have examples of that. What I'm saying is the way that you look at a matter, that may not even change at times. But I tell you what, the way you still deal with the situation will change. So sometimes people think that you may react a certain way to even a gift, okay? And at one time, where you would have been jumping up and down and running down the street and everything else, now there's a serenity of happiness that is still in your heart. It may actually surprise people because they may think that you don't really value this as much as you truly do inside. And let me tell you, the joy that is in your heart, it still motivates you in so many other ways that people may never see or really give too much thought to it. And yet, as we like to talk here, but God certainly knows how much that makes you happy or feel good. And I heard people make comments even this past week in some of their talk shows, their commentaries and things of that nature, that again, even though you sometimes want to just share your joy with everybody, many people have come to learn that you can always have a smile that you can give a person, but those deep joys that you have, those pleasures that you have, really can't always be shared with everybody because they're just not viewing life in the way that you view life. And I'm here to tell you that it's really nothing that should be a big conflict or argument about it. You find out these type of different views of people just by how I used to always mention coffee shop conversations and things of that nature, where you can end up talking to a variety of people of so many different backgrounds and occupations, and boy, also the way that they react to certain matters, and yet the only common denominator may still be that they believe in God, but guess what? They still view God in a different way from one another. Isn't that interesting? So they believe in God, but I'll tell you what, whether it comes according to this set of books or scripture or what have you, you see, they would actually not value or accept what the other person is saying, even though they can at least be uh, amicable towards one another, or still treat one another with dignity, etc., etc. That's why I like to actually say at times when it does come towards matters of even conscience, you see, then we know, well, according to a belief system, when Jesus returns again, see, he will even settle matters of the conscience of that on that level. Okay. Now, and the reason why I emphasize that, because we know that God has still given us the authority and the sovereignty, if you will, to keep our conscience. It's something he wanted us to keep. And that's why we can still say no to just even well-meaning opinions. Okay. Now, with that being said, speaking of conscience, this is a reference that I just want to make in closing with Poeartistry Gold number 96. Over the years, I've talked about one man several times, but I want to be specific in podcasts that I actually made, uh, and I want to reference his name, and I want to reference his name for a reason, because this man that I want to reference, he was and has been called everything under the under the sun, so to speak, as far as his belief systems and things of that nature. And yet, even his personality, uh, from people who didn't know him, you see, from people that was just going along with the crowd, and so he had such a bad reputation at the time, and it could probably still be a bad reputation. I would know because I don't even do research of that nature. Other than the initial many, many, many years ago, no, I come to the conclusion that this man that I ended up listening to even more, you see, throughout my career, you see, I feel with a total 100% confidence that he was a righteous man. I come to the complete agreement that his heart and motive was in the right place, no matter what other affiliations some people still said he had. And I actually make reference to maybe some of those affiliations in those two podcasts where I talked about him in, okay? So in this Poeartistry Gold number 96, this is still on a conscience and a spiritual note level, but I want you to totally realize that in these podcasts I talked about, it does go to show what we already talked about, how people can have a disagreement, even on an important spiritual matter, still be very well dressed, so to speak, still be very articulate, But make no mistake about it, the path to salvation was just not the same view. All right. And yet they still went on to show, at least one of them really took the lead in this, as far as saying, I'm not going to argue with you on this matter anymore. Like a gentleman, he took care of it. So who was this man? The man was Charles T. Russell. That's his name. Charles T. Russell. So I still want you to know those two podcasts, those references are there, even though I didn't give the a whole title of it all, but it was something that was very much worth and should stay in this Poetry Gold number 96 moment we had. Have a very beautiful day, perceptive reader, and take care.